Do you have more questions than answers? We don't have all the solutions, but we do have a community of people just like you. We are the curious, the seekers, the concerned, those into data, and those that are dreamers. And the closer we get, the better we learn. About ourselves, each other, and about our planet. Now is the time to get closer. Join us. Get your free ticket to the Learning Planet Festival. festival.learning-planet.org.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to this Learning Planet Festival 2022 unclosing session. The idea for us in the coming 45 minutes will be to discover an overview of the 400 plus sessions that have been taking place throughout the week. But the first thing I would like to do is to thank our 250 plus partner organization from more than 50 countries who have joined force to organize this festival. So that's a great thank you, and we'll come back to this. But also I would like to thank the Learning Planet team members for their enthusiastic efforts throughout the last months to organize this. So a big thank you to all the team, to the interns also, and to the communication teams from the Learning Planet Institute. So that was my first point. When we started the Learning Planet initiative in 2019, we had the idea that this Learning Planet does already exist somehow. But the thousands of learning communities around the world that are on the ground at the local level, regional, national, addressing issues around learning for sustainability and many others, they are already kind of creating this Learning Planet. And what we would need to do is to showcase this on the global stage to better connect the dots, to show that there's a movement that is existing. So the simple and urgent thing that we have to do, which is not that simple, was to bring everyone together. And we feel that in this festival, our intuition was probably good. We've had over the last week more than 20,000 people connecting to the festival platform from 163 countries, which is, I mean, every year it's growing very fast. So this has been very, that's a first enthusiastic thing that we wanted to share. We won't be able to share the overview of the whole festival because so many players are doing things all over the world that it will take us a while to get a clear idea of all what has been happening. But I don't want to make this introduction much longer. Something which was very, very strong from the very beginning of the festival is that we started with youth empowerment and with youth-led organization. And there was a session by the DICE a little bit earlier today. And we were told it is wonderful to see all the meaningful, life-changing experiences proposed to the young people during this 8-day global event, and how incredible the youth has been truly playing a leading role throughout the festival. So I would like to start by invite Claudia Costa to tell us a bit more about her experience as a youth of the Learning Planet Festival and tell us also what is coming next.
Right. Hi, thanks for having me. So I'm a youth council member, and although I was not a speaker, I was involved in an Our View for Youth Empowerment session, the first one, where members of the youth council were able to explore some of the hardships that young people face and presented possible solutions to overcome those issues. And also we had the opportunity to listen to Mathieu Ricard's truly inspiring words and experience. So please, if you're not able to attend it, do it. It's definitely worth it. In the Youth Council, we're all very excited to start working on our projects now. And in my group, especially the Girls Summer Camp idea that Louise and Katie talked about in the session. I'm sure I speak for everyone in the Youth Council when I say thank you for giving us the opportunity and the platform to share our views and to get to know our ideas. And most importantly, thank you so much for listening to us. On that note, I'm very excited to announce the big launch of the Learning Planet Youth Fellowship Program. A prototype of this initiative already exists with 60 young fellows, and it has been a success. You can find out more about who our current young fellows are by going to the Learning Planet website. This is a chance for young people all over the globe to be part of a very motivated community that wants to make a real impact around youth issues. And you'll also have access to lots of educational resources and work closely with us, the Youth Council. The campaign launch will start on the 21st of April. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on and to look forward to. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to me. And I'm looking forward to keep collaborating with all these amazing people. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Claudia. And that's really great news. We are growing the Youth Fellow program. We've had a lot of inspiring ideas. I'm adding in the chat one from Melati Vishden, who shared us a to-do list to reinvent education. And maybe Kekeshan, I'm jumping on you just now. If you want to shed 2 words about your experience as a youth leader of the festival, please do it now.
Absolutely. I think that someone working on the ground on education for sustainable development and ensuring that children and youth are brought to the table as stakeholders and not just tokenistic pawns. I think the Learning Planet Festival did an excellent job of ensuring that young people's voices were heard and that we were seen as people who do bring about change, not just protesters and strikers and people who just blame the government and private sector. I think that the Learning Planet Festival, and for me as a young person involved in it and speaking at it, it really gave youth the opportunity to shine and just showcase the amazing work that young people are doing and have the power and the power that they have to bring about change. Thank you.
Thank you, Kekeshan. This has been really demonstrated throughout the festival. It's been very, very inspiring. Kenneth, what do you want to share with us about your participation?
So lovely speaking right after Kekeshan, who is with me at the World Humanitarian Forum. So yeah, right. Of course, my love and passion lies in Catalyst 2030. So C2030 represents. Just a quick update for everyone. We had the inaugural global Stemx SDG Hackathon. It's a mouthful when I say it, but I'm so proud that 87 teams from 21 countries submitted their case studies. I cannot wait to show with all of you. We gave 1 extra day for a lot of teams to submit their entry. So hopefully we're going to announce, I think everyone's a winner. And one thing that I loved, again, it's not just an hackathon, it's youth from all over the world coming together to solve solutions related to like climate action, right? Reducing inequalities. And the fact that we had 3 networking and training sessions, I think really made it also a learning experience. And it's honestly, I'm humbled the fact that it's my first time working with students in a lot of countries I have never even worked with. And I think the Learning Planet Festival is so amazing in that sense that even as me, a 40-year-old trying to be a kid again, is actually interacting with Gen Zs in all different countries and learning from them how kids for SDGs could become more impactful. So 3 key takeaways. 1, it's okay to fail. Keep trying because I'm still failing at my humble age. That's 1. Number 2, please do expand your network. I know a lot of you love to do impact projects within their country. Reach out through Learning Planet. And 3, yes, join the Learning Planet Youth Fellow because trust me, you won't find a better group of friends growing up until a wonderful life ahead. So thank you so much. I'll leave it there. Congratulations to a great festival.
Congratulations, Kenneth, for your incredible involvement, for organizing such a great hackathon. And we are really looking forward to learning more about what has been taking place and learning more. There were more hackathon ideas taking place throughout the festival also. They won't all be shared, but that was a very strong mobilization. This is absolutely great. And you know, the Youth Council, the Youth Circle, which was created with CAP 2030, with Catalyst 2030, we have youth focusing on education, on rights, on environment, and on health also. And I now invite Marlene to talk with us, because I think we have news and more to share on this matter.
Thank you, Olivier, and thank you for inviting me. So am I the one that can share the news of the new subcircle? Yeah, okay. So we, last Monday, we had a nice webinar on youth and mental health. We had another one this Saturday, and during the week, during several sessions, I think mental well-being was a topic of importance. Also coming from my background, I work for Masterpiece, which is a grassroots movement, and we work with youth from over 40 countries. And really, mental well-being has always been there. It's always been an issue, a challenge, but I think especially during the last 2 years, these pandemic times put more pressure on everyone's mental well-being, and especially youth, as they suffer the most from the school closures, not being able to go out to see their friends, not being able, to socialize. So we spoke to Learning Planet, and we thought, let's have a subcircle focusing on mental well-being and youth. And we from Masterpiece are super honored to co-lead it. As adults, I'm not 40 yet, but 36, still feel young, but also, I am an adult. So, I think as adults, we need to set an example. So we are also the theme of this Learning Planet. It's also taking care of yourself and the other. So let's, work together. We can learn from youth. Youth can learn from adults, and really co-create and work on actions based on taking care of each other's mental well-being. So more to follow.
Yeah, thank you, Marlene. We're very happy to join forces with, again, more organization. We met you through Cannes, and that's really, really good, but we'll come to this later. So we also see these interactions and how do we are stronger together. And yes, the whole festival is about learning to take care of oneself, others, and the planet. And we want to take this forward. And there's a strong intergenerational approach that we want to further develop, which is a good example. Talking about young people who are really incredible activists, I would like to mention Manfreda Ranfele. She's the co-president of Club of Rome, and she told us that she had been an activist for the past 54 years and still as enthusiastic in fighting for what she believes in. And that's a good way for me to ask Carlos to share a little bit about the Learning for Sustainability track and the session we've been having together and where we want to take it from here. I mean, during our conversation, there were a lot of conversation about Ubuntu, about indigenous wisdom, about taking care of others and the planet. So please, Carlos, in a few words.
Hi, everybody. Very happy to be with all of you. If I have to summarize, I would take that expression, Olivier, take care of oneself and others and the planet. I would say the session brought a very strong message that these three elements are just three ways of saying the same. We cannot take care of oneself without taking care of others and taking care of the planet. So the strongest message was we have to shift from a culture too often based on separation, on splitting our humanity from nature, on splitting disciplines, and creating borders and walls, through a culture of relationships and care. That was a very, very strong message coming out and leading to what I would call or to the aspiration. That's a tall order. We have ahead of us a new synthesis of modern science and ancient wisdom. You mentioned, Olivier, Ubuntu, indigenous wisdom. A new synthesis is to be made, and this is our mission for the future. By practicing what we preach, by developing relationships, and that's what we have been doing in the last year and a half with the circles of learning for sustainability, and more recently with the Ubuntu circle, and we will continue to weave the relationships to build, communities of mutually responsive and supportive people, with the idea that what is this about? It is about the emergence from the ground. It was also very clear that people on the ground, people in communities are really developing their own ways of learning. And hopefully this will lead to the emergence of what we call a human revolution. So it's about catalyzing, I would say, the emergence of a human revolution. That's my perspective for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Carlos. And throughout the sessions and the workshops that we did, we were inspired by many of these on-the-ground community players like Runa Khan in Bangladesh, for instance, and many others. And this was really great. And yeah, so among the great partners that we've had, and we were very keen to partner with, we have Nila representing earthday.org. So please, Nila, you can tell us a bit more about your experience of the festival and any invitation to do things together in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for inviting us. And we tried to be part of each of the day's focus themes. Since you mentioned youth, especially, congratulations on your youth council. We have My Future, My Voice network of young climate activists who raise their voices for the environment. And we love them to also engage with your youth council. Maybe there could be activities developed together. We do have discussions with these youth every month. It's called an idea session, Inspiring Dialogues for Environmental Action series. And during the festival, we actually had one on how to be energy literate. And this is a course that anybody can do, and we hope that people all around the world will join so that we understand that we need to lower our carbon footprint. I will put the link to the course on the chat. I was delighted to also be part of the Arts in Education webinar as well, because we believe in having our ambassadors who also join the festival, who are musicians, who are athletes, who are actors, actresses, fashion designers, who are really have a large fan base. So if they speak about the environment, they reach out to a lot of people that way. We were also part of, obviously, the Learning for Sustainability Club of Rome platform. Thank you very much for that. And especially at COP26, our major focus was on education. So we hope to take that forward. And our theme for 2022 is Invest in Our Planet. And Earth Day is commemorated on the 22nd of April. And we hope you'll be part of the 1 billion people who commemorate Earth Day each year. And we look forward to all the community joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nila. We'll definitely join the 22nd of April and do things together with you. And throughout the week, we've got plenty of people we've been meeting who want to join some of these circles. Notably, many social change makers from Africa have been invited to join the Ubuntu Learning Circle also, and to participate in other events. So thank you very much to both of you for this contribution on learning for sustainability. I'm now going to ask Mrs. Lamia to jump in and tell us a bit more about the fantastic mobilization from Catalyst 2030 as social entrepreneurs throughout the festival. We are very close to Catalyst 2030, acting in the education group. But please, Lamia, share with us your perspective.
Yes, thank you, Olivier. So for those who don't know, Catalyst 2030 is a global movement of social entrepreneurs and social impact actors that are all focused on creating innovative approaches to solving the SDGs. So far we have 1,600 members from 97 countries, and it was a huge privilege for us to be partnered with the Learning Planet again to mobilize this network again for the Learning Planet Festival. So some highlights from the week. Our members actually collaborated on over 29 events throughout this week. And these were hosted in the true nature of Catalyst 2030 and the Learning Planet Festival. These were hosted from 12 countries, including Kenya, Egypt, Australia, Hong Kong, the UK, really all over the world. So some key highlights from events this week. First, with our chief facilitator, Drew. She weighed in on two very powerful sessions about co-creating the futures of education and the role of social entrepreneurship ecosystems in generating positive change. And moving forward from this session, there's going to be some continued collaboration with our network of social innovators and the Learning Planet Festival, and potentially with UNESCO as well. So that was really exciting to see. We also had the wonderful opportunity to host a lecturer from Harvard University, Professor Julie Batalana, for some of our workshops. And in these two-part workshops, the one that happened in the Learning Planet Festival, we had nearly 200 registrants for that session alone. And all of those members were able to also get a copy of her ebook, Power for All, a free copy of the ebook, which was great to see people engaging in that. And of the 29 sessions, we also had 5 very intensive workshops focused specifically on systems change, which is great to see the amount of interest that we had for those. So we covered topics from systems change and complexity thinking, innovative pedagogy, and the social business model canvas. And these 5 sessions alone generated almost 300 attendees, ranging from academia, practitioners, and students, which is great to see people thinking in a systems change lens. Moving forward, we would like to invite anybody who is running a venture focused on solving the SDGs to join in on Catalyst 2030 and to get engaged in our newsletter. So please check out the website for Catalyst 2030. And in the future as well, we're going to continue working with the Learning Planet Festival for Catalyzing Change Week, which happens every year, which is an annual campaign for, again, social entrepreneurs representing private sector, government funders, and all. So it'll be hosted in May this year, May 9th to 13th, and we would love to have people engaged in that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lamia. Please share our thanks with all the members of Catalyst 2030 who are not with us just today. I will do so also, but this was really great, and we'll definitely participate this year again in the Catalyst Change Week next May. This brings me to Keshav, who's also a member of Catalyst 2030, who's also a key player with youth. So please, Keshav, share some of your insights and any announcements you want to make.
Thank you, Olivier. And let me take my first precious 5 seconds to just commend the efforts of the team at CREE, the Learning Planet Institute, Olivier, Francois, Ed, Paula, Reka, Pauline, everyone. Fantastic effort. Thank you for everything. We did about 7 to 8 events, which had about 800 people from around the world register, participate. Started with the Model UN, where Francois, when he talked about where we had more than 100 young people, Francois talked about the right to education. As a follow-up, 50 people signed up later on to have another circle to discuss this issue of children's right to vote on education and so on. We hosted a panel of high-level industry representatives. One of them was also Facebook. We identified certain skill gaps and the need for industry and academia's collaboration with each other. We held a 3-day yoga festival within this, where we had 7 different experts conduct workshops, and we are launching a well-being circle with women. Next month onwards, with Earth Day and several partners, we are launching a climate fellowship, which will again go to the Earth Day celebrations as well. And I think today then we concluded our Game Changers Awards launch, which we hope to get also the support from the Learning Planet Institute in the coming days, which will now be awarded on the International Youth Day in August. So I think plenty of areas of collaboration, and we have Asha and David I saw, with whom I also spoke. So we are definitely looking at those collaborations as well. And Anis and a few existing partners, it's been fantastic, and youth-led. Most importantly, I would say from our end, everything was very inspiring and youth-led. So thank you once again.
Thank you, Keshav. I mean, from all the previous interventions, we see that the conversation is really going forward, that it's not going to stop with a festival, but throughout the year and the years to come, there are plenty of things to do together, and that there's a more and more strong action-oriented dimension to what we're doing together also. This was quite clear, I think, in the session with UNESCO, and I'll let Francois, he will speak later on about where do we go next, but we want to take these things concretely to a next level. So we've covered some of our key tracks of the festival around youth empowerment, learning for sustainability, social innovation. We are now moving into something, all of these are complementary and are interconnected, and they're not siloed, but we also had a track throughout the festival on transition across education and new narratives for learning in the 21st century. And I would like to invite Tony to tell us a few words about what he takes away from getting together on these subjects.
Thank you, Olivier. Let me say that the backdrop to the conversations that we had were obviously stimulated by the clarion call to change course and transform education that we had circulated, and of course the UNESCO report on reimagining our futures together. And I do think, Carlos, you reminded us that it's learning to take care of yourself, others, and the planet. That resonated throughout all of the conversations we had, and particularly two very significant panels. Can I just say, before I give you in literally 1 minute the 6 messages that I took away, let me just say one other thing. And that is, there was, I think, an optimistic spirit. There was a sense that we will move from a pandemic to an endemic. There was a sense that the global economy can become more adaptive and productive and transformed, by the way, led by the understanding of largely female economists. It was an optimistic note. And third, that there's a coincidence of business and community investing in climate change, in diversity, in equity, in order to secure value creation that serves both society and shareholders. That was something that was a backdrop to the 6 messages. The 6 messages that I heard were: 1, learning is cognitive, social, and emotional. Can we please understand that this is what we need for individual and collective well-being, for Carlos, human evolution, for human flourishing, for human responsibility? Loud and clear. Second, there's a new synthesis, Carlos, again, right, around a fusion of science, the arts, and humanities. Can we overcome the fracture and the schism that we have lived with? Third, there's new leadership. Again, probably most powerfully female leadership that listens, that is empathetic, and yet is prepared to take hard decisions. Next, system transformation is happening. And it's not just practices and institutions, it's the entire area of values and the way in which we think of culture. This is hugely positive. Next, personal transformation. Everybody's talked about this. It's not just about the system transforming. We need to transform. And so many colleagues have said this. And then finally, this will happen with the force of young people. So many of our conversations, Claudia, were exactly as you said. No matter what jurisdiction or geography we're talking about, it came through loud and clear. Olivier, thank you.
Anthony, thank you very much for your contribution. Gail, do you want to take it from here and tell us about what you've taken from the transition in higher education, notably, that you've been focusing on?
I thought I would be discussing on the co-constructing futures of education, Olivier. So we had a session with UNESCO on co-constructing futures of education, where it sounds like, after what Tony said, it sounds like a small kaleidoscope of the festival per se, where everything was intermingled, and I could not. And listening for almost half an hour now, to me, the thing that stays in my mind is that time where we were discussing with Francois 6 years ago about what would happen, what if everyone that is interested in those topics could come together and discuss that. I was in Montparnasse Tower, I remember that very well. That was a crazy idea. And Olivier, I don't know how we would have done that without you, bringing all the forces together, bringing that magic team together, and having that panel today. This is the kaleidoscope of how do we co-construct futures of education. So in itself, the minute that we are living now is a good reflection of what that session was about. And to go back to that session in particular, and the replay is there, and it was so inspiring. So I think we should all go back to that session. It was so heartwarming to see UNESCO, Sobit Awil from UNESCO, presenting the report about what needs to be done. And it's a fantastic report, how do we reimagine our future together, and how we need a new social contract for education. But we all asked the question, so what's next? And what do we do with that? It's been the third report. There have been reports in 72, and it's hard to go through. And as Valerie was saying, she was part of that panel, is how do we cut through the dominant narrative? So to echo what Tony was saying, the forces are there, the system change could happen, but we need to engage at very different levels. And so in a nutshell, that kaleidoscope is having that conversation, that genuine conversation with young people, with researchers, with social entrepreneurs, with people from all kinds of walks of life, with the financing sector, and having that conversation that is what needs to be done. We need to have those conversations with all those different voices within the UN assemblies, within the UN bodies, and stop having only men of power discussing with one another about the things that happen. And so UNESCO said that that's what they want to do. And so one concrete outcome of that session is that we're going to work together to see how we can hack the next forum that they have on September for the transformation of higher education, and they welcome Learning Planet and all the partners to be part of that conversation. So I think that's for me, that's a good outcome.
Thank you very much, Gaël. Maybe Valérie will comment a bit later also on this, but now I'm asking Alan maybe to share indeed the focus on transition in higher education and reinventing universities that we've been working on together. So Alan, anything you want to share and concrete outcomes, please.
Great, thanks Olivier. I think I'll be speaking to quite a lot of what everyone else has said. So I've been co-chairing a panel to try and reimagine higher education. And we were really, looking in our dialogue at how we're doing this in a time of climate emergency, mass biodiversity loss, obscene inequality, inequity, misogyny, and racism. And we're still seeing our institutions reluctant to change, and particularly our higher education institutions still stuck in silos and models of learning that don't really engage in the kinds of deep interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary collaboration that's necessary to really find solutions to complex challenges. So that was the kind of discussion. As we moved towards the festival, we realized that there was also broad consensus across the globe in remarkable range of different places, people, institutions, in the power of place and project-based learning and intensive collaboration in place-based learning. And so what we got excited about was the potential to create a network of experiments where we would establish in very different bioregions, very different cultural settings, a network of, for shorthand, summer schools, but effectively experiments, prototypes. We were really focusing on SDG 4 and 17, reimagining education, but also really looking at new forms of collaboration that are capable of engaging with complex problems. And as I say, there was great excitement, shared excitement about the forms of collaboration that we can prototype in the kind of summer school format. So effectively, we've established at least a founding group. We are going to begin this summer, and we're going to establish, as I say, a common inquiry across the globe, prototyping forms of collaboration, engagement with place. And it speaks a little bit to what a couple of other people have said. We were looking at what the themes might be. And effectively what we were saying was that a close attention to place, almost any place, if you draw different ways of knowing together, will reveal endless complexity. So we thought we might start with soil health, which touches water health, which touches food futures, which touches work and employment culture, land rights issues. So we're going to start a collective inquiry and sort of prototype these different models of collaboration. As part of that, at Dartington, I've committed 6 acres of land just to get things going. And that meant that other parties started to commit resources, time, network systems, and we're excited also about how Learning Planet can draw the network learning together and empower and inform change agents across the globe. There we go.
Thank you, Alan. There was some strong excitement in many sessions about co-creating things together, like summer schools and these types of shared pedagogies and projects. And this was true across many of the sessions we had the pleasure of participating in. Valérie, up to you. You've been part of some of these key sessions, and you are also part of future programs that we can do together. So please share a few words.
Olivier, thank you. And thank you everyone who's spoken so far. I must begin by congratulating Learning Planet on making it happen, putting it together. Just an amazing, amazing achievement. So I salute you and thank you so much. We owe you a great debt. I was part of a panel that was discussing the report, the UNESCO report on reimagining our futures together. And listening to Tony, listening to Gail and listening to Alan, bringing together some of those points. Institutions that won't change, that are stuck in their silos, what is it going to take? And some of us, particularly those people involved in the Global Education Leaders Partnership, have been thinking for a while that we need to be moving out of systems and towards ecosystems, not as a change of vocabulary, which is a bit more, sexy, but because there's a big difference between a system and an ecosystem. And we've done a couple of studies around looking at what it means for institutions to become ecosystemic, to work with diverse partners, all kinds of facets of society. It needs to be everybody's business. So there've been a couple of studies of this. We've created one, but they've all been in the global north. They've all had access to discretionary funding, often philanthropic funding. And actually, it's the global south, possibly where they are flourishing more significantly, but also where there's a greater need. And to your point, Carlos, the whole concept of deploying indigenous wisdom, where the community's strength in creating educational pathways is really, really significant. So I'm just delighted to be able to announce a new project today, which we are pursuing with Learning Planet and with Dream a Dream. We have some funding for the first year. We hope it'll be a multi-year project, which is looking at global South learning ecosystems. And my warning here is we're coming after you all. We're coming after you because we want some examples in India, in Latin America particularly, and in Africa. We are not just studying them as a research project, but the outcome is intended to be tools and playbooks to make such learning ecosystems much more part of the landscape everywhere and much more powerful, so that in Brookings terms, we can leapfrog to the next stage of education transformation. So we will be in touch, I promise.
We are very excited about this new project. Valerie, you mentioned Africa. We had our friend Almaz Moudali, who was to join us, but had some connectivity issues. And we also had Mark Rishi from the US, who could have shared the international symposium of a US symposium that he's been organizing on the 24th. I think both of them won't be with us today, but all the continents are being represented in the Learning Planet, and that's really great. I would now like to invite Anis to tell us a little bit more about the Arts for Education, Arts for Learning track, really, and what we want to do next together.
Thank you, Olivier. Of course, I'm going to talk about arts. And actually, more than art, it's about the relationships and how we connect with the other, but also with ourselves and with our environment. And this goes beautifully with the motto of the Learning Planet Festival, learning how to take care of oneself, others, and the planet. The first day, I was saying that we are a community of amazing and diverse chefs in the Learning Planet Festival. And at the end, we all shared the same kitchen and co-created during a very rich week. Now I want to tell you about the menu we have prepared for the upcoming month. As an appetizer, I can already tell you that 2023, the Community Arts Network will be more present, and in the meantime, we'll engage with more and more chefs and provide them with more visibility and create synergies. For the main course, the Community Arts Network will follow up during the 12 months that leads us to the Learning Planet Festival 23. Our ingredients will be arts education, arts in education, and arts for education. And we will spice it up with artfulness. The dessert is an invitation to join an art for education circle with all the interested partners. There is a need, an important will, and already strong, brilliant people and organizations we at the Community Arts Network have witnessed in most of the sessions we have organized and we have attended. So as a conclusion, to all the inspiring chefs around, please join the movement so that we can come back stronger at the table of the Learning Planet Festival restaurant in January 23. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Anis. You make us all very hungry. And it was the same yesterday morning when we all met with a very, very strong desire to do things together. So this is absolutely great. I have one question to ask because I see that Asha is here. Asha, what time is it for you just now?
Olivier, it's 2:40 a.m. Sorry.
AM, yeah.
Don't even know.
I've seen you with us in almost all the sessions. You were there all the time, chatting and contributing. So a big thank you to you for being so often with us and for contributing. And with this kind of time change, it's really very kind. So seeing you once again today, I had to say hello to you.
Thank you, Olivia.
I would love.
I tried to be there.
You're great. I would ask Leonora very quickly to tell us a word about the dream lesson, and then Francois to conclude this session. Leonora, please tell us a bit more about all the 40 networks of teachers. And
thank you. Thanks, Olivier. So yeah, I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing with teachers. We at Learning Planet came into the festival very aware of the contribution that teachers already make every day and the constant demands on them to innovate and become specialists to help solve all these crises. We want to make sure their voices are heard by our other members, and also they're supported by the network so that they can be there for their students who want them to, who also want to innovate and collaborate in the face of all these challenges. So this year at the festival, alongside the Varkey Foundation and the DIAS, we ran a masterclass for teachers who wanted to learn to teach, to take care of themselves, others, and the planet. And in the lead up to the festival, we asked teachers to share their dream lessons with us, which served as an inspiration to others who are grappling with these topics in their classrooms and their communities. And they're now on the festival website for everyone to see, with an invitation to teachers to continue to share them as a source of inspiration. We know from a recent OECD report about the state of education during COVID that it's really vital that teachers become active agents for change, both in implementing technological and social innovations, as well as designing them. And so it's critical to invest in their capacity and their change management skills. And we also know, Brookings wrote a report quite recently saying that equipment for improving the overall quality of education for the 21st century, which is rife with these crises, would be to unleash the creativity of teachers to help combat climate change. So we've heard during the festival, in fact, it was from Asha, that trust and compassion from each other can be difficult because we see each other's ourselves as different from each other and different from our environment and different from our planet. But once we see that we're all elements of a connected ecosystem, then the concepts will become as natural as breathing. So getting to that realization is key, and teachers are a fundamental part of getting to that realization. So our plan post-festival, following from the masterclass, following from the dream lesson, is to work with the Varkey Foundation and other networks of teachers and organizations working with teachers to recognize the work that teachers are doing, help them succeed as innovators and enablers for students to innovate, make links between teachers and other people in the Learning Planet network, because teachers often find it difficult to meet other people, and help teachers collaborate with each other. So we'd be delighted to hear from teachers and teacher networks around the world who'd like to join this effort. Thanks.
Thank you, Leonora. Just before giving the floor to Francois, could you all switch on your cameras, please, so that we can take a picture? So switch on the cameras and smile. And 1, 2, 3, a little bit more. Everyone, Kekashan, are you here? No? Okay, I'm taking the picture. Thank you very much. And now, Francois, please, the floor is yours for a few concluding words. You have 4 minutes for us to then close in time.
Thank you so much. This is a dream come true. I feel that maybe I'm in the Asha's dream. She probably is sleeping by now, and we are, entering our dream of a Learning Planet coming together to join forces and energies and learn from each other and celebrating all together, what it is that we can do together that we could never have hoped to do alone. And, Gael had alluded to this dream a few years back, and it's becoming true. And again, thanks to an amazing team that makes this possible, and thanks to all of you and all the communities that you've been motivating and bringing together here. And, knowing that there is people from 163 countries that discovered these activities. We are getting very close to covering the whole planet. I'm so impressed by what has been achieved collectively, and I can't wait to see what comes next. And I think that's what's the most promising for me, is that we clearly have enjoyed the time that we spent together. We've all learned from each other, and we all want to come back next year and the year after and the year after to see this movement grow. And that's very inspiring. I think that this can really make a difference. And I think that we do have to make a difference for all the reasons that all of you are very aware of. And so I'm quite confident that together we can do things that none of us could do alone. And what I'm really very, very thrilled this year is that the amazing contribution of the young ones. Okay, some of them are present today, and I really wish to thank them. And I think that, everything that we've done at the Learning Planet Institute, even when we just started with a handful of people 20 years back, was co-designed with students. And I think our best future is going to be co-designed with the next generations by construction. So I really look forward to all the young fellow that will be joining us. And I strongly invite all of them and all of you, whatever your age, to come together and dream big and start dreaming of things that we could not do alone. I love the 18-year-old Pierre Curie, the one that was lucky enough to marry Marie Curie. And it's rare that we present men like this, so I just underline this, when he was 18-year-old, he said, that we have to make our life a dream and our dreams a reality. And I think that, that's exactly what I think we can do together with all the generations that are present today and all of those that, will be coming in the future and will be ever more numerous. And I feel that, the very fact that here we have not only education, but also science and art and philosophy and democracy and rights and citizenship, and all these topics have been discussed together with inclusion. So, all the first part of the elements were part of the Enlightenment and part of the Athenian heritage, but inclusivity was not. Athens and the Enlightenment were not inclusive. They were deeply discriminatory. And so if we have to reinvent the Enlightenment, can we make it in a way that is truly inclusive, that is truly co-designed with everyone, every stakeholders, including the younger ones, because the young ones are still not citizens, okay? And actually none of us is a global citizen, even though we would like to be. And so I think that, designing together a sort of a fractal democracy that is truly inclusive and invite every generation to contribute to tomorrow's future, I think is essential. And we won't solve democratically or global problems without building that fractal democracy, inviting every generation in the debate and giving, children much more rights than they have now, including the voting rights. And so, that might seem very utopic, but I don't see a solution that is not an utopic solution. And I'll be very happy to see what are your own dreams. And I think that the dominant game of our society is one of competition and exploitation. And can we go from that dominant game to a change in the game and motivate all the game changers of all generations so that we change the rule of the games to make the new game much more inclusive, much more caring, much more connecting to each of us, so that we truly learn to care for oneself, others, and the planet. And we do this together at scale, so that we can build that common future together. Thank you so much for all your energy and input. And I look forward to the next stages of this wonderful community that we are building together.
Thank you very much, everyone. For those who speak French, you can still join us for the second part of the unclosing session or ceremony of the festival, because we are switching to French in now something like 10 minutes. But it was absolutely delightful to have you all with us today. And we'll be in touch very soon. And enjoy the rest of your weekend, of your night, Asha and Anthony. Yeah, take good care. Thank you very much.
Everyone.
Take much care.